Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Savannah J. Goins, author of young adult fantasy novel The Gwythinian, and today I am talking about animals in fiction. As you can see, I'm dressed a little differently than usual. I'm wearing some scrubs and I've got my stethoscope with me. That is because I'm going to be talking about animals today, and as most of you probably know, my day job, my not writing job, is actually in the veterinary field. I'm a registered veterinary technician with 2.5 years experience at an exotic animal clinic, working with everything from as small as betta fish and salamanders all the way up to tigers even, and it's been a really cool job. I've had a lot of great experiences there, and I am so happy to share some of those with you. So because of my background in crazy animal things, some people have asked me some really great questions, and I thought it would be really fun to do a video to answer these kinds of questions. So I put out a query to some friends and to a lot of writer Facebook groups, and I got some really great questions that I'm going to be answering in today's video. I got more questions than I can answer in one video, so this is going to be somewhat of a series of at least 2, maybe more videos, but we'll start with this one, and I'm just going to get right into it. First of all, Steve asks, he says, I have an ape-like creature that rides on a bear-like creature, and I want to design a saddle that allows the ape creature to pivot and stay on when the bear creature rears up to fight. Anything I should keep in mind about the design of the saddle to accommodate the ape-like anatomy? Any other considerations I should keep in mind? Alright, so my first thought there is with apes, they have shorter legs than humans and longer arms. So for a normal human saddle, you'd probably need to adjust the stirrups to make them shorter to accommodate the shorter legs. And you may not need to have as long of a reins because his arms will be able to reach further, towards the head of the animal that he's riding that would have the reins attached to it. There's one thing. The other thing would be, so horses wear saddles, and they have a little thing that goes under their body that attaches to the saddle called the girth, and that is just a strip of thick fabric that kind of helps hold the saddle in place. So I think you would definitely want to have one of those, and you might want to add an additional girth-like strap over the front of that animal so that when it rears up, the saddle doesn't just slide off, but has an extra strap around the animal's front to hold it in place. I think that would be a really great consideration to have for this situation, and I love the kinds of things you're making up here, and I would love to see what happens to these animals, so good luck to you with that. And Milo asks, how large or how small should one make fantastic beasts such as a hippogriff, and what are the consequences? So when making up animals, there's a lot of things to think of. What do you need them to accomplish in your story? Or obviously, larger animals will be more dangerous. The larger they are, the more harm they can do to you just by sitting on you because they're heavy. And the smaller they are, the more likely you are to do harm to them potentially. Also, the larger they are, the easier they'll be to see, the more expensive they will be to feed, the more difficult they'll be to drag back to camp if you've hunted one down and killed it, and then, the smaller they are, the easier it'll be for them to escape from you, or the harder it could be to keep track of them if you have a lot of them. So it depends really on what you need them to do. Keep in mind, if these are animals that you're like breeding and raising, the bigger they are, the more land they'll take up, the more expensive they'll probably be to acquire, and the more feed they'll take. So, the bigger they are, the more expensive they'll be, most likely. Smaller things, you'd need to maybe take more care to keep them contained because they could get out of smaller spaces more easily. And even small things have their fierce side sometimes, so it really just depends on what you need them to accomplish in your story. If you have any more specific questions that have to do with this question, please hit me up. I would love to help you out with that. Tony asks, what reasons would an animal, say a cat, have to react negatively when meeting someone for the first time? So if you are talking about when the cat is meeting the very first human it's ever met, then it could be afraid just because it's something it's not used to. If it's used to seeing cats, or it's not used to seeing any other live things, or it's used to only seeing things that walk around on 4 legs and are covered in fur, it may be nervous about a human just because it's never seen one before. If, however, you're talking about meeting some random new person when it's been around humans before, what things might make it nervous? Or, make it react negatively, where it might be hissing, running away, attacking, things like that. Those would all be negative behaviors. Those things could be brought on by anything that reminds the cat of something negative that happened to it in the past. If he was abused by someone who wore a hat, meeting a new person who happens to be wearing a hat might cause that cat to react in, the same kind of standoffish way. Also, new people who aren't usually around cats and don't know how to read their body language may make the cat uncomfortable by getting too close to it too quickly, not letting it have a chance to sniff their hand, trying to grab it and pick it up without, giving it a chance to get used to the person. Those are also other things that could cause a cat to react negatively to someone the first time they meet them. Kel asks, what does the peel of snakeskin feel like? So it depends a little bit on how big the snake is and on what kind of scales it has. Even big snakes sometimes have smaller scales. There's tons of different species of snakes, and so the size of the snake and the size of the scales will make a difference in the texture. It kind of feels like slightly more textured saran wrap. It's when it all comes off in one piece, like it does in a healthy snake, it's as thin as saran wrap, and it's just slightly stronger and doesn't stick to itself like saran wrap does. But it feels kind of a lot like that. It's very dry and kind of crinkly, and it's just an inside-out snakeskin. Side note there, if a snake loses its skin all in one piece like it's supposed to, that is a sign that it is appropriately hydrated and is having the appropriate nutrients in its diet and is getting enough UV. If the snake skin comes off in multiple pieces, it is probably not very healthy. It could be because it has skin problems due to malnutrition, but the main reason that snakes don't shed in one piece when they should is because of low humidity. So if you have a snake or another similar creature in your story and it is unhealthy for any reason, something that you can use to describe it being unhealthy would be having bits of shed skin stuck to it, or having bits of shed skin all over the ground where it should have this one nice piece of shed that comes off all in one piece. If it's unhealthy and dry and malnourished and just not appropriately hydrated, it's going to have little bits of skin stuck to it all over the place. So it's a little descriptive you might could use of your snake characters. Michael says, I have rabbit people in my book. I've done some research for personality quirks and mannerisms, but I could definitely handle more input. I'll keep you in mind for specific questions, but for now, is there anything about rabbits that stands out as a useful trait for a flawed rogue hero in a fantasy novel? So one of the funniest things about rabbits is whenever they get mad, they thump. Like they literally stomp. Like they're annoyed and they just whack that foot on the ground. And it's really funny because they're annoyed and they're trying to be fierce and scary and let you know that they're really tired of you, but it's just also kind of cute. I see this happen a lot when I'm restraining a rabbit for the vet to examine. Rabbits don't appreciate being restrained for an examination very much, and they are very happy to thump on the towel on the table to let me know what they think. So thumping is just showing annoyance. This could be showing, serious annoyance or even just slight annoyance in a sentient rabbit character. Another thing that rabbits do when they're excited is they do what's called a binky. And they kind of run around the room and then they jump into the air and do a little twisty, curvy thing that's really cute. And that is a sign of being happy. So as you have a rabbit character that gets some good news or is excited to see someone they haven't seen in a while or is just excited about anything, having that rabbit character do a little binky in the air would be really fun. You can look up YouTube videos of it and just practice describing the little flip-de-doo things they do, and that would be really cool to read in a book. You could definitely do some cool things with that. Another little behavior that rabbits do is periscoping, where they stand up on their back feet and they hold their front feet up and they're just looking around, and that's just a sign of curiosity and interest, and is also really cute. You should look up videos of that too, just to see the cuteness of it. Little side note there, rabbits start eating greens very, very early on. For some reason, people think rabbits can't be allowed to have greens until they're so many months old, but as soon as they're in the process of weaning, they start eating greens. So rabbits eat a lot of greens in the wild, and for accuracy, semi-accuracy's sake, it'd be good to show them eating a lot of greens and not too many carrots, because carrots are one of the highest sugar vegetables and are not actually very healthy for rabbits. And this will be our last question for this video. Cass asks, what do I need to know if I'm writing about a bird and a cat and their encounter? Both the cat and the bird are sentient because they're the animal form of their human shapeshifters. I love shapeshifters. So the American Shorthair is a girl and the Sparrow is the boy protagonist. The girl's mission is to keep the boy safe, but as a feline, she may be tempted to harm him. So cats are definitely wired to be very driven by flickers of movement. So, they see something and, they dart their head over to look at it and see what it is. So the little flickering movements of a sparrow could definitely attract a cat's attention. And as they are traveling and working together, especially if they, spending more time in their animal forms makes their animal tendencies start to come out a little bit more than if they've been in their human forms for longer, she could definitely start looking at him, just not even meaning to, but just seeing him move and look at him like, oh my gosh, there's food over there, I should go check that out, and then maybe shake herself and realize she's not supposed to do that. She might also stretch her claws out and just kind of be thinking about grabbing some food. She might also be seen kind of prowling after him or like watching him with like the hunker down shoulders thing that cats do. If she's being like really, really overwhelmed by her cat senses, that might be something that she would do. And the bird, of course, would be scared of this and would, kind of leap into flight. Cats can actually jump pretty high sometimes, so there's definitely danger for this little sparrow if this cat is overwhelmed by her cat senses. You could definitely do some really interesting things with this, with, personal journeys, learning to fight temptations and build friendships and trust. There's definitely lots of room for cool things just with the connotation and the assumptions with a cat and bird relationship. Okay, so real fast, I have a little friend who would like to make an appearance. This is Kaz. She is one of my little rats, and I have 3. They're named after Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows characters, Kaz, Enid, and Jesper. And Kaz is my favorite. She's a little more chill than the others, but she doesn't get to hang out with me when I write because, as you can see, she's very busy. She tries to drink my coffee, she tries to eat my paper, and escape and run away and explore places that are not great for her to be exploring. So she's just going to make a quick little appearance. See, look at how cute she is. Oh my goodness, what a cute. So, I hope that you found these little animal tips and answers to questions helpful. If you have any questions about your own animals in fiction, please send those my way. Please send them to me in an email or comment below. I would love to answer them for you. I'll go ahead and send you a brief answer because it does take a little bit for me to get a video out, so you won't have to wait for me to answer it completely in a video, but I will answer it in more detail in a video. So thank you for supplying me with more questions, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And let me know what your favorite question and answer was in the comments, and for more writing tips and the occasional animal question and answer video, please hit the subscribe button, and to be notified as soon as I post every Monday, ring that bell icon, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, have fun making words happen. Bye.